everyone, Katarina here. Thank you so much for watching this video today. So I'm back to show you how I made this gorgeous wedding card. I'm saying I'm back because I already shared a couple of wedding cards in a previous video where I just walked you through them, showed you. It was like a kind of a project share, two completely different wedding cards, and one of them was this here. Now in that video I said that I will be coming back to show you how I made this opening or aperture or pop-up element, whatever it is, okay? So that's what this video will be mainly focusing on. However, I will be showing how I decorated this, especially at the front, but everything that I used and everything how I made them was already shared in that previous video, so I won't be focusing on the little details of the decorations. If you want to know what I used to create the flowers, the foliage and all that, just go back and check that video out. In this one I will be more or less focusing on the card base, the little pocket with the note, the pop-up element, and of course I show you how I decorate the front. So as for the heart in here, this is not my favorite, Mr. and Mrs. It's kind of too big for my liking, but this is only a temporary solution just for the sake of this video, because I will be adding the name of the bride and the groom and the wedding date on there, just like I did in the previous video as well. So in addition I added these little gems. I don't think they were on that card previously, and I think that's it. Everything's exactly the same. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you do, please give me the thumbs up and leave a comment. Okay, thank you. So now I'll show you how I made this. Okay, so we will need a card base. Mine is a 6 by 6 inches shop bought one, and because it's shop bought, it would be slightly under 6 inches, just about 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. And then we will need a piece of cardstock to go on the back to create our pocket, and this one is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 by. If your card base is 6 by 6, you can make this 5 by 7/8, just in the tiny slightly bit under your card base size in there. So I will do this one first. I will add just a tiny bit of glue on 3 sides of this. And I will glue this to my card base, making sure that the side where I didn't add any glue is facing outwards. I like to do this now first before I do anything else, because this will give the glue to adhere nice and strongly. Plus it's easier to go now and smooth it down real flat, rather than when the card is all bulked up, and it's just not that easy then to make it so nice and flat for this to stick on. Now all I have to remember is this is the back, so I'm not going to decorate that side. Has happened before. Yeah. So then next thing we will be doing is this pop-up bit for the inside. Okay, so I already prepared mine, but I'm going to show you how exactly I made that. So the piece of cardstock we are using to create that pop-up mechanism will measure 11 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we are going to score line at 4 inches, at 7 1/8, and at 8 3/4 of an inch. Turn it round, and the one at 7 1/8 just score down one more time on the other side as well, because that will be folded the other way. But for now we will be ignoring that score line. We will be working with the other two. Okay, so these are the 2 score lines we are going to be working with. I added green line in there just for you all better to see. We're going to ignore this score line for now. We have some more marking to do. So what I'm going to do on this 4-inch score line, I'm gonna come down and make a little mark at 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and also I'm going to make the same from the other side, from the bottom up, 3/4 of an inch. And I'm gonna do the same on this score line that I made at 8 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 and 3/4. Okay. So now I'm going to line up my ruler with those two lines, with the 0 being at the start of the cardstock, okay? So now this is at 4 inches, and at 6 3/4 I'm going to do another V mark, and also at 7.5. Okay, so it's those two lines I did. So there's a little mark at 4 inches, at 6 1/4, at 7.5, and at 8 3/4, and this all comes down 3/4 of an inch from the top. And I'm just going to do exactly the same on the bottom. So now I'm going to line these up, just pull a little line in there. I'm just gonna go all across. You'll see we'll not need it all, but it's just easiest to explain this way. And then I'm gonna go all across again in here. And now I'm going to join up the dots that I made at 6 3/4 of an inch. And I will also join up the ones that I made at 7.5 of an inch. Just like so. So now what we are going to do is we are going to cut away this whole section in here and this whole section in here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in my cutting mat and my X-Acto knife, and I'm just gonna go down all along that line that I just drew. Okay, so now these two score lines where I marked it with green, I'm going to fold up, and the other one as well. Burnish it down, and this other one I'm going to fold this other way. Okay, and now we have all this mechanism created that will be glued onto the inside of my card, just like so. So when it's shut, it looks like this, opens up, it pops up just like this. Isn't it cool? Okay, so first of all I want to decorate my inside a bit, the part that will show behind those windows. Okay, so it's only this far I have to go with my backing paper. Now you can use anything in there. You can use cardstock, any pattern paper, anything that you like, whatever occasion you are making your card fit for. What I like to use is this wallpaper, this is the last bit of the whole roll that I've had. This is the last card that I'm using. So this one here measures 5.5 inches in height and just a bit under. So I measured out 5.5 and I cut away 1 slither of it. So it's like literally 1/8 of an inch shorter than this bit in here, because I want to make sure that this will be hiding behind this perfectly. And width wise I cut mine to 6.5 and I scored down at 2.5 inches. Okay, so this is the shorter side that will be going to the front of my card, making sure this is the front. Now I'm going to remove everything in here from the other side as well, all this tape. So now what I want to make sure when I am adhering this to this side of the cardstock, it is kind of in this half open way, okay? Because this is high, this card will be displayed. So now it won't open any further unless I start tearing it, okay? So this is the position that the card's displayed in. So this is the position I wanted to glue this bit on. And this is why I wanted something like real nice quick grab. Okay, so that's why I use the double-sided tape for this side. Now, so the next part to be adding is this pop-up bit that we just created, and it will be adhered just like this. Okay, so I can see that there's about 1/8 or 3/4 of an inch kind of a border, so that looks nice and even everywhere. So this is what I will be using as my guide when I'm going to be gluing this side on first. Okay, so I'm going to be removing the backing of my double-sided tape just on this side for now. And just to give myself a little bit of a wiggle room, safety, I'm going to add some liquid glue on top of this as well, just like that. And now remembering about how much of a border I had, I'm going to glue this down nice and straight. And that liquid glue allows a little bit of a wiggle room here for me now. So that's it, perfect. So just going to burnish it down, make sure the glue spreads out evenly in there. And now I'm going to pull this back and fold it over. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, just remove my backing. Just fold the back of my card over, just like so. So this is it, the card base is ready. The next thing I want to show you is the little notelet that I already created, and this is what will be going inside this pocket in here. Okay, so because it's going in that pocket, I did mention this before, this cannot be bulky. It's already a little bit of a bulk in it because I had to trap this ribbon between two pieces of cardstock. So this one measures 10 inches by 5, scored down at halfway at 5 inches and folded into a 5 by 5 card base. The sparkly ribbon is trapped between the back of this cardstock and this one in here that I added an insert is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4 all round. Okay, so what I want to do is decorate just a little bit on the front. Now you may notice, don't know if the camera picks it up under this light, but I scored just 2 lines on all 4 sides using my scoring board at 1/8 of an inch and at 1/4 of an inch. It just adds a little bit of a dimension, frames it up a little bit, because I don't want to add too much decoration to this. I do not want to have this too bulky. So what I did, I've cut out the Mr. and Mrs. from Chloe's Creative Cards. Let me see, and it is this here, Wedding Sentiment Builder. Okay, so I just cut this out using double-sided tape here on the back. So this is Mrs. Because I use the double-sided tape when cutting out, it will be just a matter of gluing this down. And I'm just going to really eyeball this. Just okay, so basically what I did, I just used the dies that I cut this out with as my guide in here, just for a little bit of an arrangement. But of course you can add anything in here. I've added love hearts before. If I made a card like this for a birthday, I added happy birthday here or the year. So there's so many ways that you can dress this up a little bit. Okay, so that's it ready, and it can go inside the pocket. So now it's time to decorating. I like to add some layers on the front before I bulk it up from the inside, because then it would be very hard to lay the layers down here flat. So I have a piece of cardstock, this one that measures 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and I would normally use glitter cardstock, but I don't have any gold glitter cardstock left in my stash. So I just took a piece of heavyweight white cardstock, added double-sided tape all around, and I sprinkled it with my Nuvo Pure Sheen glitter. And this actually gives it such a lovely velvety feel. It really is nice. Now too much won't come away because the double-sided tape, I rubbed it in very well, but there'll be still a little bit of a sparkle falling off here and there. So this I will be adding at an angle, just like so. And then I have this bit that measures 5 by 5 inches, and this is a cream color cardstock. Now I've cut this to scalloped edge. If you have any scallop edge dies, you can use those. I've used a trimmer that I have that cuts out all different decorative edges, and I sent it through my die cutting machine using this gorgeous embossing folder. This is like swirls. Now I've had this for such a long time, I can't find the box, but I'm nearly sure this one was from Creative Expressions. I love it. It's so versatile. I've used it a lot before, and I will keep using it because it really is stunning. So normally I would use the emboss side, but I don't know, I just fancied a little bit of a change, and I'm going to use this gorgeous deboss side this time. As you can see, I added a little bit of a chipboard to the back, just to add it a bit of a dimension and a bit of a stability. Now this chipboard is very thin. This is just one of those, you know, you can buy your 12 by 12 cardstock pads, and this is just the backing of one of those, so it's really not too heavyweight. And I'm going to be adding this at an angle again, just going the different direction, just like so. Okay, so I'll do that first. Okay, so now I can move on to decorate the inside bit a bit. So first of all, I have a piece of cardstock here that measures 2.5 by 5.5, and I just stamped and heat set with gold embossing powder. Your love story begins here. Now everything that I use for decorations, I already shared where they are from and all in the video that I will link to the description box below. I don't want to having to go and show everything once again because it would just drag this video out too long. Now I'm going to glue this in here. You could of course take your stamp and stamp it directly onto that there. I just don't always trust my skills that much and especially when using the Versamark see-through ink with something as delicate as that sentiment, sometimes it might not just stamp as well, or it would be too smudged because I pressed it down too hard. So I just find this the easier way. So I'm just going to glue this on top of this, and no one will ever know. It's exactly the same size as this section in here, so no one would ever know, says me. And now there's a little bit of a border there, but it's okay because we'll be covering that up anyway with little strips in a minute. Okay, so your love story begins here. So I have cut out all the bits and pieces that I will be decorating this with. So my cake stand and the cake will be glued onto here. The bunting will be glued in there. I will be cutting this down to size. The 3 flowers will be going, these are just little die cut flowers from my stash. I always use something else in here. And then the celebrate will be going down onto the bottom in here. The champagne bottle and the glasses just above that sentiment, just like that. And I also have cut out all different sizes of these little dots, which I like to add just going here and there. It's just like little bubbly champagne. And what I also like to add to that is these teeny tiny gold little sparkly gems. Like they are so tiny, you can barely see them. I think this is like a nail art box, which I've had for many years. So that's all I will be doing for now, and then I will come back here. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I forgot to mention here before. One of them is these lovely little thin strips of peel-offs, which I'm going to be adding on this side of the card just to frame up this here, and this will cover up my mistake in there as well. I think it's lovely. Your love story begins here. I just love it. I'm quite new to having this wedding set from Chloe's. It's a couple months ago that I ordered, but I haven't used them all that much. I absolutely love the sentiments in there. Now, the second thing is these little butterflies. I have a smaller one and a larger one, and I just realized that I forgot to glitter up the larger one. So I'll be able to show you how I did that small. So I've die cut it with these dies that I had in my stash forever. It's lovely stitch detail to them. Of course it loses that stitchy detail with the glitter and all on it, but otherwise it's such a gorgeous die. I love using these. I have no idea where I got them from. So I've cut this with the double-sided tape on it already. So I'm going to just peel that back, and now all this that I expose here is nice and sticky. Perfect for the glitter to stick to, or my finger. And that's the butterfly ready, lovely and sparkly. I'm going to add hot glue to this. This is what the inside of it looks like. I'm not sure what you can see on the camera. Let me check. So this is what it looks like, and as I said, everything that I used in here was shared in my previous video, so go and check that out. Okay, so now we are going to quickly decorate, well, as quickly as I can decorate the front bit of it. Okay, having everything prepared in advance will help with the decorations. Now the hearts are my nested die set. So this one here, I just stamped and hit embossed Mr. and Mrs. in there, but this is not what I would be using on the card. It is just for the sake of this video now, okay? Normally, this is where I would print out the names of the bride and the groom and best wishes on your wedding day and the date, or happy birthday, or whatever occasion I'm making the card for. Okay, so just to say, this here is again that same wallpaper that I used in there, but I backed it up against the heavyweight cardstock because obviously that would be way too flimsy, and some of the layers I have raised up on a bit of foam. So now for the rest, again shared in the previous video, I will be just adding this on high speed for now. Okay, so this is it. The gorgeous card is ready. The only thing that I forgot to show you is normally I would glitter up the edge of that card. Okay, so I would take the love heart and with Chloe's chisel tip pen I would just go all around it, and I would dip this into my chunky crystalline. So I forgot to show you this one, but I will be doing that. But as I said, this is not what I will be using in this card. I will be removing this heart, and the new one will be saying the name and the details of the bride and the groom, their names and the date of the wedding, and I will be glittering up that heart. Otherwise, that's it already. I think it's absolutely perfect. I love it. So there's plenty of room to write your message in there. But if you don't want to add this pocket, you can just leave it plain and add your message at the back of the card. That's an option too. I think this just adds an extra bit of a lovely detail to the card. It can be displayed nice, either with the front, lovely sparkly front, or with the inside open, and the message, a personalized message, does not have to be exposed. So I think it's just perfect. All for me that is left to do now is to make a box for it, and that's it. Another lovely wedding card done. I really hope you liked this tutorial, guys, and if you did, please give me the thumbs up and leave me a comment, or if you haven't yet done so, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell so you will get notified when the next time I upload some absolutely stunning little card video. Okay, thank you for staying with me, and until the next time, bye!